Hey, welcome back. This is Krishna with another quick tip to help you level up your digital art game. So this time we're going to use Photoshop's Vanishing Point filter to help us create some editable grids that we can use when constructing a sketch. Let's get started. We're going to open up a blank canvas. I'm typically using a 5500 by 3300 pixel canvas at 600 pixels per inch. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make sure, first of all, I have a blank layer that's visible. I'm going to go up to Filter. I'm going to choose Vanishing Point. And you may or may not already see a grid like this. If you do not see a grid, you can construct a grid. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the grid tool here, and we're just going to go to every corner of our canvas. And you should see a grid that's available. Now you can change the size of this grid by making it bigger or smaller. And that's entirely up to the level of precision that you want. In this particular case, I'm going to make my grid like roughly about 100 units or so. And once you're happy with your grid, then you can render your grids to Photoshop. Now, in my version of Photoshop, which I'm running 2020, this does not take the first time through. What I have to do is I have to click OK. Then I have to go back to Filter, Vanishing Point, and then the grid, Render Grid Photoshop option is available. So I can choose that and then click OK once again. And now you can see that I have a grid that I can now edit and manipulate. So what I'm going to do now is using the rectangular marquee tool, I'm going to make a selection and hit Command J to jump that section of the grid to its own layer, and Command T, and now I can apply perspective. Do the same thing at the bottom here, selecting the grid layer, Command J, Command T, Command J again jumps a selection to its own layer. Command T brings out transform. And with the transform tool active, you can right click and choose perspective. And you can adjust that however you see fit. Now, this could be a top-down view. This could be a view looking directly up. That's entirely up to you. What I find to be very helpful is to change the color of my grids. So in this particular case, this is the top grid, so I'll just call it top, and I'll label this as bottom. And what I'll do is I'll go to the top layer, choose FX, and I'll choose color overlay, and I'll just change the color to make it more visible. And I can do the same thing with the bottom layer too. I can go back to FX, color overlay, and change the color just to make it easier to see. And you know, at this point, what you can do is you can organize all of your grids into a group folder. I'll just call it grids. And then you can go ahead and sketch or draw on top. So obviously the horizontal lines are pretty easy. If I want to have this like being a view looking directly up, I will draw my horizontal lines first, just to make things a little bit easier. And I'm putting some gaps because obviously there's going to be some roads, etc. And I can do the same thing here at the bottom. We'll make this building shorter. And if I wanted to make these lines more precise, you can use a line tool here to go ahead and add that precision. And the cool thing about this is you can just line this up. It can be parallel to your existing perspective lines. And then you can sketch. And I'll just move this over. Or if you have a ruler, you can use that too. I'm running a Mac and I'm using Head Stylus. For Windows users, there's a similar tool called Lazy Nezumi, and I'll have both those links for you in the description for this video. So I'm not going to complete this whole thing out I'm just going to show you enough to where you can see exactly what I am doing here. And it makes short work of actually drawing very complicated, or tedious, I would say. This isn't super complicated, it's just tedious. But start with your horizontal lines first. I'm just going to turn this off so you can see, if I were to say make this a view where we're looking up at a building, maybe this is the window on the top, and I can just use this as my guide, right? And then, look at some references to see how buildings are put together and how windows are organized, that sort of thing. And then you can just draw the edges of the buildings, and you can finish that out in pretty short order. So that should get you started. Let me know if this tip was useful in the comments below. I always appreciate feedback. I read each and every comment that's posted. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this tip to be useful, and I'll see you in the next one.